Sarah had seen year upon year of bloody conflict, from the Pendulum Wars to humanity's struggle against the Locust Horde. As a result of these wars and the countermeasure activation, the planet's ecosystem was irreversibly damaged. Adding to that, the emulsion that had once powered the planet was all gone, leaving the inhabitants with no fossil fuel supply. In the wake of this energy crisis, humanity began research on other sustainable sources of energy. Sarah's weather had changed following these events, with violent wind flares sweeping across the planet. Another environmental issue was the lowering of global sea levels, caused in part by the flooding of the Hollow. Former port cities such as Halvo Bay and Vascari Port were now surrounded by salt flats and deserts. In the year 17 AE, with no locust or lambent threat present, the coalition of ordered governments was reformed to govern the remaining survivors. But both the Pendulum Wars and the Locust War had left deep wounds within the people of Sarah. It was estimated that less than 1 million people had survived, with all history, culture, and infrastructure left in ruins. The COG based their efforts in Tyrus and began aggressive reconstruction as well as developing new technologies. In time, a capital, New Ephyra, and other small settlements were formed. A couple of months after the countermeasure, the dead locusts began to develop impenetrable crystal shells. Due to a genetic characteristic, the locust horde went into hibernation. In the year 18 AE, unable to burn the bodies, the COG chose to bury them in large mass graves located in mines and old COG facilities thousands of feet below the surface. Several years later, Anya Stroud had risen to the position of First Minister. She enlists in Minister Jin's fertility program and successfully implants a child. Shortly after, James Dominic Phoenix is born. At the same time, Kate Diaz, parented by Raina and Gabriel Diaz, is born in an outsider settlement. In the year 27 AE, First Minister Anya Stroud attempts to have another child via Jin's fertility program. Anya sadly dies during the process, leaving Marcus to grieve for her loss. Marcus loved Anya, and in a time when war was no longer a part of everyday life, he loses her forever. Gabriel Diaz dies from rust lung, with his wife replacing him as leader of Fort Umson. In the year 38 AE, James Phoenix and Del Walker graduate and enlist in the COG Military Academy. James Phoenix was following in his father's footsteps in more ways than one. Marcus Phoenix didn't approve of his son joining the military. In the same way, Adam Phoenix didn't approve of Marcus joining during the Pendulum Wars. At the academy, James and Del meet Fars Chutani, who would become their rival at the academy. The trio were trained by Chief Sergeant Clayton Carmine. A year later, the trio graduate from New Ephyra Military Academy and are all made lieutenant. In the year 40 AE, after 25 years of peace, the population had grown into the millions. However, the peace was not representative of a unified harmony in the population. There were many who didn't recognise the COG leadership as having any authority over the people of Sarah, as the COG were guilty of terrible atrocities during both wars. These groups, known as the Outsiders, lived out in the wilderness beyond the COG settlements. Due to the new violent weather patterns, the COG developed wind walls to counteract these new threats in order to protect their settlements. In 40 AE, the locusts emerged from their cocoons, evolving into scions. The locusts created a bioorganism able to transform other life forms into their hive mind, called the swarm. This new threat waited patiently under the surface, ready to make its presence felt one day in the future.